All right, time to talk Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizz are back at home, and they're coming off a road trip overseas, Europe, to be exact, Ruben.
Yeah, some people couldn't get in. All right. Hey. They split a pair against the Orlando Magic. They lost in Berlin, Germany, but won in London, England. The whole ordeal is the reason they did not play on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as we all remember. But the basketball gods set it to where the first game back, 2 days removed from MLK Day, is against a city that Dr. King is also very famous for. And it's your hometown and your favorite team, not mine, not yours, just only one person's.
Yes.
The Hawks.
My Atlanta Hawks. This is tough.
I was wondering where that long diatribe was going.
I found myself in kind of a conundrum, this week, because I was like, every year the Hawks have come into town, I've been at the game as a fan, and now here I'm there and a media member. Do I cover it as a media member or do I go as a fan? So I know Ruben hates the NBA, so you know what I'm saying?
Ruben does not hate the NBA.
So I think this time, obviously, it's all about you, the people, and obviously we got this crazy weather going on. Let's just take a break from the weather and do sports. So I will be there in my media capacity, but I make no mistake of who I'm rooting for tonight. Well, in the game. Make no mistake about it, I'm a Hawks fan.
Listen, now that he's done on his,
through and through,
whatever that is, can we talk about the Grizz?
Yes, of course.
This man was running victory laps last week. I told you they was going to trade John.
So
he was actually here
the first. It was your first appearance here when we talked about it.
And when I said they ain't gonna trade this dude, it's all rap.
Clarify why they ain't gonna trade him.
Because he makes them money. Period.
And because they can't get enough for him.
Yeah, and he makes them money.
But if they could get enough for him.
Yeah. Oh, put it this way: if you want to trade Giannis for Ja, trade up. Come on, Giannis.
Duh.
Yeah, come on. But you're not gonna trade him for a bag of potato chips.
Thank you. That's what I've been saying.
Nobody's arguing that fact.
That's what I've
been saying. Everybody
getting traded.
If you look at all the national medias, they always say, "Oh, Josh tainted. You're gonna get him for pennies on the dollar."
No, you can't.
And Zach Kleiman said, "No, this dude make he's worldwide."
Well, and they're so invested in him, they can't afford to let him go for pennies on the dollar. They need some investment back.
Right.
I mean, it's business. Don't ever get it twisted. It's business.
Oh, Josh sell jerseys and Josh sell tickets.
And shoes, yeah.
And shoes.
The key word y'all are saying is worldwide. So let's roll the highlights of literally worldwide. Let's first look at, obviously, the first game in Berlin. Now, this one, Terry, was just classic Grizz, just can't hold on to a lead.
Yep.
I watched this game, and they were just running away with it against the Magic. It's Desmond Bane's first game against his former team. I'm like, all right, Grizz gonna smoke them. Then just like that, the Magic come back. And obviously we got this play right here that might be the dunk of the year.
That's embarrassing right there.
Dunking
Who dunks on four people?
4 people. And so, yeah, the Grizz end up blowing that one, losing 118 to 111. But the key thing was they did not have Ja. So let's move to the game where Ja did come back, and that was the game in London. The return of Ja, and it was all Ja. What do you have, 24 points?
How many
13?
returns of Ja have we had this season?
Man, come on, don't do that. But see, this right here, people, is exactly why you don't trade Ja, because you want to get the best deal for him. And if you just wait and let him continue having performances like this, you will get that best deal
at the end of the
off season.
So I will give you some credit. No. So listen, you are so dramatic. Just listen. I will give you credit that I agree that the best money for him will be potentially in the off season.
Yes.
Yes. I totally. When we were talking about it off camera last week, I said yes. I agree with you. That makes the most business sense. But it doesn't deter the fact that they're still willing to get rid of him, which was what the point I was making at the very beginning of the season when I said he don't look like he even want to be here. Oh. And everybody was like, nah, he ain't never going to leave. He ain't never going to get up out of here.
You said he doesn't want to be here. Let's roll the clip of what he just said recently.
Mark Stein from the Stein Line and Talk Sport. Everyone who's come in here tonight has said you were the best player on the court. I mean, you know what's been reported about the Grizzlies are listening to this and that. I don't know if that continues or stops, but what do you want? Where do you want this thing to go from here after the way you played today?
If anybody in here knows me, I'm a very loyal guy. I got a logo on my back, so that should tell you exactly where I want to be.
Sorry, shout out Mark Stein on that. And then I want to follow up off of what Josh said that, because Mark Stein, we have the full screen of what he said recently about this whole Ja Morant saga. Basically, he was saying that Zach Kleiman is way too pragmatic to be a one-game change. So even though Josh shined in this most recent game against the Magic in London, it's all still about getting the best deal. And essentially what Mark Stein was saying is kind of what you've been saying, Ruben, is the reason why they drew this line in the sand is because of Josh's issues with the coach.
Terry?
Well, the grass ain't always green on the other side.
Correct.
Because last year, it's not been reported, but it's been said that some players on the team had a problem with the prior coach, and some of the owners, the front office had a problem with the coach. But, I'll take 50 wins a season all day long.
Exactly.
And
at one point, they were second in the West.
Except last year.
Yeah, and then
Boom.
boom.
What a difference a year makes. And this year, I think, Ja, the front office has always been pro Ja and pro Big Three. There's no Big Three here now. There's only two. So now
And
I
Ja
think
can't stay healthy.
And Ja can't stay healthy, right?
That's what changed it for, I think.
So finish your thoughts. So now you're saying the difference from there to now is?
They back this current coach, T.I., Tomas more than they back Ja because all their eggs are in the Tomas basket. They not in the Ja basket.
Yeah.
Prior to this year, they was in the Ja basket. So that's why things change. And also, too, we all know why Ja is unhappy. It's not because of Issa Lowe. It's not because he's mad because he didn't get a contract extension this past season. And he's mad that they suspended him after the Laker game when he had a good game and they just blew a lead and frustration and everything blew out. And then I think they might have a common meeting, a good meeting with one another, and I think they might have smoothed things out.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, and you made a point earlier, so I'll let you make it again when we were off camera, is this thing's like soap opera.
Yeah, it is a soap opera.
And the people at home, you hear trade rumors, or
Right.
you hear this is going to happen or this might happen,
Right.
but when you're really around it a lot,
Right.
you understand that there's a lot working behind the scenes.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things that I have with Ja and his people is that he don't have an agent. And when you have an agent, that means they got to talk to you directly.
Or your
and
daddy.
sometimes you get your feelings hurt when you know how they really feel about you. That's why you have a middleman there. Ja can use the NBA Players Association to mediate that.
Yes, do it.
Because you don't want your feelings hurt. And we all love Ja, and I love Ja. But Ja's a little sensitive at times.
Yeah.
And
At times he don't even like talking to us.
he talked to me. He likes me. But because he know I'm not coming after him like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just get in your feelings. Because like when they play tonight, we hadn't talked to John about a month. So when they play tonight, hopefully they win. Because when they win, you get a good job, get a happy job.
Yeah.
And, and it's also too. We get to the point of the season right now. We got 41 games in. We at the halfway point right here. The next 2 weeks are most critical time because right now this team is going in the wrong direction, and they have the dead days of the summer right before the All-Star game and the All-Star break.
Yeah.
You got 3 weeks. You got to try to make your move up because after the All-Star break, everybody's focused on the playoffs.
Yep.
Exactly. And I know the trade deadline is in 2 weeks. So we, something we did last week and we will continue this week is pull up some mock trades for Ja. I got 5. This was courtesy of CBS Sports. Now this first one, Terry, let me see what you think. Now this one, the Timberwolves, this is that was the first team that came up that, when they were talking about Ja Morant landing spots, a team that is winning right now, a team that could use a point guard. Now in this hypothetical deal, T-Wolves get Ja Morant. The Pacers, this would be a 3-team trade involving the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers would get Nas Reed and Bones Highland. The Grizzlies get Benedict Mathurin, Rob Dillingham, the return of Mike Conley, and Isaiah Jackson. What are you feeling about that one?
If Zach Edey is in that lineup, I like it because Mike Conley will be a point guard for him, and I like Rob Dillingham, and Isaiah Jackson is great. But you have to have their presence in the middle so they can do the pick and roll with Zach Edey, and Jaren can return to what he needs to do.
Well, Mathurin is a good athlete.
Yes.
Mathurin, he's a good athlete, and he can score too. And
But see, the reason why I kind of not rocking with it is because you're already kind of set at that position with Coward and Jalen Wells, and now
But some of those guys are young, and
so it's like Mathurin is now thrown in the mix. Like he's a restricted free agent, so it's not like you have him.
yeah, you don't have to keep him forever.
But still, it's. And then Conley, his best days are ahead of him. Conley is just more for sentimental things.
And also with that trade, you got to look at it as 4 for 1. That means you got to make some roster moves on those Grizzlies. You got to get rid of some big people.
Yeah, that's a couple.
And that second unit of the Memphis is really, really good.
Yeah.
And if that first unit is healthy with Ja, and that second unit with Coward and Vince and and Jock, it's really good. They
So
can
who
make
do
a
you get
run.
rid of at that point?
You had to break that up.
Yeah. All right, what's the next one?
Let's move on to our next one. Mock trade number 2. This is Ja Morant going to the Kings. Now, in this one, I kind of am rocking with it a little bit because they get the draft picks like they didn't get in the T-Wolves. Now, the Kings would get Ja Morant and Ty Jerome, who is yet to play a minute for the Grizzlies. He's still hurt as we speak. In this one, Grizz get DeMar DeRozan. I think that would be an expiring deal. Malik Monk, I like that. Malik Monk is not.
He's on the old
former 6th Man of the Year candidate. Devin Carter, which you know his dad is a coach on the Grizzlies. Anthony Carter. Now they get a 2027 first-round pick. That's next year. Now it's top 8 protected. So in this theory, the Grizzlies are banking on the Kings to make the playoffs with Ja Morant so that pick would convey. If it does not convey, then it would move to 2028 where it's top 4 protected and then so on. If it still doesn't convey, it's completely unprotected in 2030. How you feel about that one?
Now, that one, hypothetically, because you're only losing one player in that situation and you're gaining draft capital, which you can actually use that to do more things to you. Because, this one thing about the NBA, it only takes one good player to turn you around. And if you got some draft picks, you can go out there and get, because Memphis is not going to sign free agents. But you can pull free agents in through a trade. So with that scenario, and Jaren being your centerpiece, and if you can keep the pieces you have, because you have a really nice young core.
You still get a clutch guy in DeMar DeRozan.
Right, and you get some draft capital. So that right there really looks really good.
It makes sense, yeah. What's the next one?
All right, let's go to mock trade number 3. This one has him going to the Raptors. Now, I wanted to talk about this last week, but we didn't get to it. In this one, this is actually kind of one of my favorite deals. The Raptors would get Ja Morant. The Grizzlies get Emmanuel Quickley, who is a little bit around the same style of player, just kind of a little bit of a lesser version than Ja, makes a little bit less money than Ja. They get Ochai Agbaji, who I loved him in Kansas, and I like him in the NBA, a good glue guy. And then they get Garrett Temple, a journeyman. What do you feel about that one?
It's not a very sexy trade at all.
They don't get any draft picks, which was kind of my thing. But Quickley, I really like what Quickley could bring.
Yeah, I like what Quickley can bring. And Garrett Temple, he has potential. But that right there, you really helping Toronto out because they're not giving up their prized possession.
They don't have one big name.
I know they've been kind of wanting to get off of Quickley, but they want to get the best deal. And in this theory, they would get an upgrade at point guard.
They win quite
My
good.
biggest thing with these Ja Morant trades, and I've said this numerous times, is Ja Morant, a trade for Ja Morant this year, is that going to help you get to the finish line of winning it all?
For the Clippers, it would.
Well, let's keep looking.
For the Clippers.
We got 2 more. Let's go to number 4.
All right, going to mock trade number 4. We pulling up. This one sends him to Milwaukee, and obviously we hear all the chatter about Giannis. You know, it didn't work with Giannis and Dame. Maybe it could work with Giannis and Ja. Now, in this one, the Grizzlies get Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and Ryan Rollins, which Ryan Rollins has been having a breakout year for the Bucks. He's only making $4 million.
Yeah, nobody wants Kyle Kuzma, though.
But Portis like playing in Memphis. He's a local guy from Arkansas.
From Little Rock.
And he's very, very consistent. And Kyle Kuzma, man, if you look at the way he's been playing this year,
Ever since he came off the bench, he done got better.
He's gotten better. He's more consistent, and he's not a super diva. So that would give you contribution, and that would give you a good core. And you got some veteran presence with that. That would help this young core.
You still got a young guy with Ryan Rollins.
I'm a big Bobby Portis fan, though. That dude plays hard, plays well. He's very versatile. All right, what's your 5th one?
All right, last mock trade. This one has Ja going to the Phoenix Suns, and he's reunited with Dylan Brooks. Now, in this one, this is something that I heard last year, when Desmond Bane was gone, they was like, why didn't the Grizzlies get Jalen Green? Well, in this hypothetical trade, Jalen Green comes to Memphis for Ja. And they also get Nick Richards, a guy who they thought was going to be something with Kevin Durant. It didn't work out. And then they get Nigel Hayes-Davis, a guy who was a journeyman. He was a star in college, but hasn't really been that in the NBA. I think we should focus on Ja for Jalen Green.
You're just doing Ja for Jalen at that point.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah, but that trade right there, I hate that because it makes Phoenix better. Because one thing about Dylan Brooks, he takes all the heat off of Ja. Ja can do whatever he wants because Dylan gonna get all the heat, and he's gonna be his protector. And Ja would not be going through the stuff he's going through because Dylan would say something crazy or do something different. And that's how come he was so free when Dylan was here because Dylan, don't poke the bear comment. He always take the attention off everyone else, and so that's really good for Phoenix. Not so great for Memphis. So Jalen Green, he has flashes, but he's not a superstar.
Yeah, I think my favorite mock trade out of these was probably the Kings one, just because you get a mix of, you get a clutch player in DeRozan, a leader who you can give the ball in crunch time. You don't have to necessarily go to Jaren, and then you still get draft picks. I do love the whole situation with Devin Carter coming back to play for his dad. That can kind of unlock him. I like Malik Monk. He's kind of from the area. Grew up in Jonesboro, I believe.
Yeah, Malik Monk's from Arkansas.
Yeah, and so that to me is my favorite trade. But the thing that I've always said about Ja, and this is what I keep telling Ruben, and I've told our coworkers, what team where if you trade for Ja Morant, you feel like you have a better chance to win the championship and topple OKC? Because we know the NBA runs through OKC.
San Antonio.
Yeah. So, but see, San Antonio doesn't need Ja because they have Fox and they have Harper and they have Castle.
But they don't have a point guard. They really need that point guard there.
Oh, you would put Ja with De'Aaron Fox? I don't think they could play together.
Fox had to go.
Well,
you would trade De'Aaron Fox for Ja?
He's deep in the tone, though.
Yeah.
That'd be some uproar. Yeah. I will say this. You're talking about wins on the court, but you can't also forget about wins in the front office when it comes to money.
Yes.
If I am one of these teams and I have the opportunity to get Ja, I know I'm not just getting what he does on the court. I'm selling a ton. You know what kind of jersey sales would happen on a Ja Morant trade? So much money gets made off the court. Ticket sales go up, merch goes up. Well,
The last 3 years, the Grizzlies have increased their season ticket prices for the last 3 years, and they did that because of one person, Ja Morant.
Yeah. So while we're talking about, man, you got to get what you're getting, what you need to get on the court.
At the end of the day, it's about winning, though. You know.
At the end of the day, it's about money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, them dudes who own that is money, money. They'll spend money to win, but they still want to make that money. It's a business.
And so that's why I think, like, when I look at I know you say San Antonio.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think the only two teams where if you look at Ja and he goes there and you're now thinking, man, they could probably win it all, is Houston and Minnesota. Houston's not making a deal for him. They're going to ride it out with KD and Sengun and see what they got with Reed, Shepherd, and Amen. They don't want to disrupt that. Minnesota, I think, should make it. Our coworker Kevin McNamara, who is an anchor for us, he's a huge T-Wolves fan. He don't want to touch Ja. He'd rather just rock it out with Ant-Man. But I think if Minnesota got Ja, that might be the missing piece what they need to beat OKC. But I don't know. That's just me, though.
I think you got two ball-dominant guards.
Yeah.
I don't think that would work out.
Him and Ant be fighting.
I don't think it'll work out.
Ant, we said that when Randall went over there.
Yeah.
But Ant found a way to adjust his game to where it could work. Ant-Man, for as much of flair he is a person who is willing to share the ball and
he wants to win
with his team.
That dude wants to win above all other things. So where do you think is the best? Let's say all things are equal. Ja does get traded at some point. Mid-season, end of season, irrelevant. Where do you feel like is the best landing spot for Ja personally, where he gets a fresh start, have success, lead on to win?
Depending on what Milwaukee will give up, I think Milwaukee will probably be the best thing for him because you got the presence outside, then you have Ja, inside out game, and he will balance the floor because you have to take pressure off of him, and then Ja can attack the basket because Giannis is chill for him, and he'll have another closer because Giannis, as good as he is not a closer.
Yes, correct.
But Ja is a closer. You put those two together, you have a solid point guard, and you put another outside shooter with them. You have Giannis, Ja, and an outside shooter, i.e. Cam Spencer. That will probably make that deal work. I think that would probably be the best for it.
So I'm glad you brought up Giannis because the word on the street is a lot of this trade when it comes to these superstars is on halt because teams are still trying to figure out what is going to be the deal with Giannis. Where some teams like the Heat, which has been mentioned as a Ja Morant spot, are saying, you know what, we're not going to put probably the deal we need to put for Ja because we want to save some of those for Giannis. And Giannis has come out and said, I'm never going to request a trade, but he also said, that's today. So kind of being a side-by-side, what do you feel about the Giannis market and how it could impact Ja? Do you think that we just end up going through the deadline with neither one of them getting moved, that now we just kind of table this into the offseason?
Bingo, because Ja is just like Giannis. You trade Giannis,
you got to get a lot.
Your ticket, no one's going to see Milwaukee, and you lose a lot of money. Giannis is a star. He's a worldwide star, and he brings a lot of money in there. In theory, I'm going to sacrifice, even though they're around 500 right now, but you add something to that, they can go up because the East is wide open.
Yes.
If you trade Giannis, you ain't got a chance to make the playoff or make money. So if you get trade him, you got to get a superstar back. You got to get somebody to make that team worthwhile.
Can't miss the playoffs and not make money. All right, we got to go. It's like 20 minutes in on this one. We've had just on this on this Grizz segment. So Terry, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you as always.
Absolutely.
If you see him at the airport trying to hop on a plane international and they won't let him in, let that
Only UK, baby. Only UK. I can go everywhere else.
He said I'm internationally known.